Clasp our hands, close our eyes, and focus on the divine. Om Bhurbhuvah Swaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhiyo Yo Na Prachodayat. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnaat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Devadideva Vinayaka Devadideva Vinayaka Pranava Swarupa Suramuni Vandita Pranava Swarupa Suramuni Vandita Devadideva Vinayaka Mangala Charana Pahi Gajanana Mangala Charana Pahi Gajanana He Shobhanayaka Vigna Vinashaka He Shobhanayaka Vigna Vinashaka Shri Charanam Bhavadukaharanam Shri Charanam Bhavadukaharanam Shri Charanam Bhavadukaharanam Devadideva Vinayaka Pranavaswarupa Suramuni Vandita Pranavaswarupa Suramuni Vandita Devadideva Vinayaka Mangala Charana Pahi Gajanana Mangala Charana Pahi Gajanana He Shobhanayaka Vigna Vinashaka He Shobhanayaka Vigna Vinashaka Shri Charanam Bhavadukaharanam Shri Charanam Bhavadukaharanam Shri Charanam Bhavadukaharanam Devadideva Vinayaka. Namaste.
Thank you, Auntie Chansey. So now I'd like to ask Govind, followed by Auntie Indra, and Joy, Sanya, and my mom. Thank you.
Sitaram. कान्हा कन्हैया नंद लाला ओ मुरली वाला ऐसे बजाए मुरली मुरलिया जादूगरी कान्हा कन्हैया नंद लाला ओ मुरली वाला ऐसे बजाए मुरली मुरलिया जादूगरी देखो कुंवर कन्हाई कैसी रास रचाई देखो कुंवर कन्हाई कैसी रास रचाई ऐसी तान सुनाई सुध बुध सब विसराई पांके ओ चैला निराला ओ मुरली वाला ऐसे बजाए मुरली मुरलिया चारू बरी कान्हा कन्हे आनंद लाला ओ मुरली वाला ऐसे बजाए मुरली मुरलिया चारू बरी माखन चोर दुलारा नटखट सबका प्यारा मन मोहन मन पावन नाम रते जग सारा माधव मुकुंद मत वाला ओ मुरली वाला ऐसे बजाए मुरली मुरलिया जादू बरी कान्हा कन्हे आनंद लाला ओ मुरली वाला ऐसे बजाए मुरली मुरलिया जादू बरी कान्हा कन्हे आनंद लाला ओ मुरली वाला ऐसे बजाए मुरली मुरलिया जादू बरी मुरलिया जादू बरी मुरलिया जादू बरी सीताराम
Sitaram, everyone. मैले चादर ओढ़ के कैसे मैले चादर ओढ़ के कैसे द्वार तुम्हारे आऊं हे पावन परमेश्वर मेरे मन ही मन शर्माऊं मैले चादर ओढ़ के कैसे द्वार तुम्हारे आऊं हे पावन परमेश्वर मेरे मन ही मन शर्माऊं मैले चादर ओढ़ के कैसे तूने मुझको जग में भेजा देखकर निर्मल काया आखिर के संसार में मैंने इसको दाग लगाया जन्म जन्म की मैली चादर अब क्या दाग चढ़ाऊं मैली चादर ओढ़ के कैसे द्वार तुम्हारे आऊं हे पावन परमेश्वर मेरे मन ही मन शर्माऊं मैले चादर ओढ़ के कैसे निर्मल पानी पाकर तुझसे नाम न तेरा गाया नैन मूंद कर हे परमेश्वर कभी न तुझको ध्याया मन बिना की तारी तो थी अब क्या गीत सुनाऊं मैली चादर ओढ़ के कैसे इन पैरों से चाकर तुझसे मंदिर कभी ना आया जहाँ जहाँ हो पूजा तेरे कभी न शेष झुकाया हे हर हर पे हर किया अब क्या हार चढ़ाऊं मैली चादर ओढ़ के कैसे द्वार तुम्हारे आओ। हे पावन परमेश्वर मेरे, मन ही मन शर्माओ। मैली चादर ओढ़ के कैसे, मैली चादर ओढ़ के कैसे, मैली चादर ओढ़ के कैसे। सीताराम, थैंक यू।
सीताराम। सुर की देवी सरस्वती माँ, सुर का ज्ञान सिखा दे माँ। हे अंधियारा इस हृदय में, सुर का दीप जला दे माँ, सुर का दीप जला दे माँ। सुर की देवी सरस्वती माँ। रीत न जानू ईत न जानू, प्रीतम जानू चरणों की। रीत न जानू ईत न जानू, सुर का दीप जला दे माँ। सुर की देवी सरस्वती माँ, सुर का ज्ञान सिखा दे माँ। है अंधियारा इस हृदय में, सुर का दीप जला दे माँ, सुर का दीप जला दे माँ। सुर की देवी सरस्वती माँ। साज तुम्हें आवाज तुम्हें हो, लाज तुम्हें रस बस रख लेना। साज तुम्हें आवाज तुम्हें हो, लाज तुम्हें बस रख लेना। तेरे चरण शरण आया हूँ, पग की भूल बना ले माँ। है अंधियारा इस हृदय में, सुर का दीप जला दे माँ, सुर का दीप जला दे माँ। सुर की देवी सरस्वती माँ, सुर का ज्ञान सिखा दे माँ। है अंधियारा इस हृदय में, सुर का दीप जला दे माँ, सुर का दीप जला दे माँ। सुर की देवी सरस्वती माँ। पूजन अर्चन बंतन सब कुछ, शब्द सुमन अर्पण माता। पूजन अर्चन बंतन सब कुछ, शब्द सुमन अर्पण माता। प्रेम खेला भेद तुम्ही कर, भाजे हास स्वीकारे माँ। है अंधियारा इस हृदय में, सुर का दीप जला दे माँ, सुर का दीप जला दे माँ। सुर की देवी सरस्वती माँ, सुर का ज्ञान सिखा दे माँ। है अंधियारा इस हृदय में, सुर का दीप जला दे माँ, सुर का दीप जला दे माँ। सुर की देवी सरस्वती माँ।
सीताराम। जय नारायण जय जय दुर्गे, जय जय अम्बे नमो नमः। जय नारायण जय जय दुर्गे, जय जय अम्बे नमो नमः। तेरा पावन सुमिरन करते, अंतर में सुख बराता। तेरा पावन सुमिरन करते, अंतर में सुख बराता। रोम रोम में प्रेम तिहारा, रोम रोम में प्रेम तिहारा, मन में भक्ति विखर जाता। जय कल्याणी जय जय दुर्गे, जय जय अम्बे नमो नमः। जय नारायणी जय जय दुर्गे, जय जय अम्बे नमो नमः। मन अंतर में मंत्र बनो तुम, जीवन में गुंजा दो माँ। मन अंतर में मंत्र बनो तुम, जीवन में गुंजा दो माँ। जन्म जन्म के संतापों को, जन्म जन्म के संतापों को, तेज से अपनी जला दो माँ। जय रुद्राणी जय जय दुर्गे, जय जय अम्बे नमो नमः। जय नारायणी जय जय दुर्गे, जय जय अम्बे नमो नमः। जय जय अम्बे नमो नमः। जय जय अम्बे नमो नमः। सीताराम।
Sitaram, everyone. Jyoti janam gavaya sadhu, Jyoti janam gavaya sadhu, Jyoti janam gavaya, Jyoti janam gavaya sadhu, Jyoti janam gavaya sadhu, ज्योति जन्म गवाया। एक पिता के हम सब लड़के, धरती हमारे माता। एक पिता के हम सब लड़के, धरती हमारे माता। कुटुम कबीला संघन साथी, कुटुम कबीला संघन साथी, काल डंका बजाया साधु, ज्योति जन्म गवाया साधु, ज्योति जन्म गवाया, ज्योति जन्म गवाया साधु, ज्योति जन्म गवाया साधु, ज्योति जन्म गवाया। दो दिन का पहुनाई जगत में, माया में भर माया। दो दिन का पहुनाई जगत में, माया में भर माया। धन दौलत कुछ काम न आवे, धन दौलत कुछ काम न आवे, छूटी जाए यह काया साधु, ज्योति जन्म गवाया साधु, ज्योति जन्म गवाया, ज्योति जन्म गवाया साधु, ज्योति जन्म गवाया साधु, ज्योति जन्म गवाया। सत्संग का गंगा बही है, कोमल जिसकी धारा। सत्संग का गंगा बही है, कोमल जिसकी धारा। करिय स्नान विमल कर काया, करिय स्नान विमल कर काया, पापिन पार कराया साधु, ज्योति जन्म गवाया साधु, ज्योति जन्म गवाया, ज्योति जन्म गवाया साधु, ज्योति जन्म गवाया साधु, ज्योति जन्म गवाया. Thank you.
Thank you all very much. So now I'd like to ask Mrs. Ramdat if she can do one for us, and then we'll have our Bacho Ka Khan segment. Thank you.
Jai Sitaram, everyone. वृंदावन का कृष्ण कन्हैया सबके आँखों का तारा, वृंदावन का कृष्ण कन्हैया सबके आँखों का तारा, मन ही मन क्यों जले राधिका, मोहन तू है सबका प्यारा, वृंदावन का कृष्ण कन्हैया, जमुना तट पर नंद की लाला, जब जब रास रचाया रे, तन मन डोले राधा सी, बंसी मधुर बजाए रे, सुधि बुद्धि खोड़ी खरी गोपिया, जाने कैसा जादू डाला, वृंदावन का कृष्ण कन्हैया सबके आँखों का तारा, मन ही मन क्यों जले राधिका, मोहन तू है सबका प्यारा, वृंदावन का कृष्ण कन्हैया, रंग सलोना ऐसा जैसे छाई हो व्रत सावन की, तेरे में तो हुए दीवानी, मन मोहन मन भावन की, तेरे कारण देख भावरे, छोड़ दिया मैंने जग सारा, वृंदावन का कृष्ण कन्हैया सबके आँखों का तारा, मन ही मन क्यों जले राधिका, मोहन तू है सबका प्यारा, वृंदावन का कृष्ण कन्हैया, बोलिए श्री कृष्ण चंद्र की जय।
Thank you. So now I'd like to pass over to Sanya for tonight's Bacho Ka Khan segment.
Thanks.
Good time, everyone, and welcome to Bachu Kaka. Tonight we'll again be starting off with a prayer. Om Bhurбhuvasvaha Tatsaviturvarenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi धियो यो न प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो न प्रचोदयात् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरि ओम. Tonight our presenters are sisters Suneya and Ciara. Suneya will be doing a piece and Ciara will be singing the bhajan Gauri Ganesh. After that we will be having my classmate and I, Bhumika and I, doing a Hindi poem together. And after that, our young adult for tonight is Auntie Shabana, and she will also be reading a piece. So I now pass over to Suneya for her piece tonight.
Sitaram. Thought for the day, as written in Prashanthi Nilayam, dated March 13th, 2022. This was taken from Dhyanavahini, chapter 3. Why is it important to yearn? And what should we yearn for? Bhagavan answers these precious questions for us today. There are two types of people. One set on accusing themselves as sinners, and others flattering themselves as great. Both types worry because of their own mental aberrations. What they both need is mental satisfaction. This can be obtained by meditation. Through meditation, understanding will increase and wisdom will grow. For this, a person should develop an interest in and a taste for meditation. That is, a yearning that admits of no other step and that would not tolerate any obstacle. Of course, one may yearn to hear music and derive joy therefrom, or see bodies of close relatives who died and derive sorrow. Yearning may have pleasant or unpleasant consequences. Yearning must have the strength to inspire endeavor. In fact, yearning is but dormant endeavor, and endeavor is yearning in action. When yearning is weak, endeavor declines. When one is strong, the other is also active. Please forgive me if I made any mistakes in my pronunciation. Thank you. Sitaram. Sitaram. Gauri Ganesh Uma Mahesh Parvati Nandan Shri Ganesh Gauri Ganesh Uma Mahesh Parvati Nandan Shri Ganesh Sharanam Ganesh Sharanam Ganesh Sharanam Ganesh Sharanam Ganesh Shivanandana Ganapati Ganesh Shivanandana Ganapati Ganesh Gauri Ganesh Uma Mahesh Parvati Nandana Shri Ganesh Gauri Ganesh Uma Mahesh Parvati Nandana Shri Ganesh Sharanam Ganesh Sharanam Ganesh Sharanam Ganesh Sharanam Ganesh Shivanandana Ganapati Ganesh Shivanandana Ganapati Uma Mahesh, Parvati Nandana Shri Ganesh, Parvati Nandana Shri Ganesh, Parvati Nandana Shri Ganesh. Sitaram.
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 So we will be doing a Hindi poem together, and Bhumika will be singing, and I will be chorusing. So Bhumika, it means to start.
लकड़ी की काती काती पे घोड़ा को रेखी दम पे जो मारा दौड़ा 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 गम उठा के दौड़ा
लकड़ी की काती काती पे गोरा गोरे की दुम पे जो मारा दौड़ा 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 गोरा दुम उठा के दौड़ा लकड़ी की काती काती पे गोरा गोरे की दुम पे जो मारा दौड़ा 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 गोरा दुम उठा के दौड़ा गोरा पहुंचा चौक में तनाए गोरे जी की नाई ने हजामत जो बनाए
चटपट 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 चटपट
गोरा पहुंचा चौक में तनाए गोरे जी की नाई ने हजामत जो बनाए दौड़ा 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 गोरा दुम उठा के दौड़ा
लकड़ी की काती काती पे गोरा गोरे के तुम पे जो मारा दौड़ा 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 गोरा तुम उठा के दौड़ा लकड़ी की काती काती पे गोरा गोरे के तुम पे जो मारा दौड़ा 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 गोरा तुम उठा के दौड़ा
सीताराम
सीताराम
Sitaram, and a pleasant good evening to each and everyone again. So my little talk this evening is taken from Jnana Vahini chapter 4, and it goes, why is wishing for the well-being of the world and one's own spiritual progress two sides of the same coin? Bhagwan lovingly explains to us today. The meditator considers the realization of Atmic bliss as important, but the promotion of the welfare of the world is also an equally important aim. For carrying out that aim, one must bring certain physical, verbal, and mental tendencies under control. These are usually known as the 10-fold sins: the physical, the 3 physical, the 4 verbal, and the 3 mental. The physical tendencies are injury to life, adulterous desire, and theft. The verbal sins are false alarms, cruel speech, jealous talk, and lies. The mental attitudes are greed, envy, and denial of God. The person intent on following the path of meditation must take every care that these 10 enemies do not even approach. They have to be eschewed completely. The person needs tendencies that will help progress and not those that drag back. One must speak and act good, for good alone is auspicious, and the auspicious alone is Shiva. Thank you, Sitaram.
Thank you all who participated, and we look forward for your participation again. Thank you, and Sitaram.
Thank you all very much. So now we'll have a couple bhajans or kirtans, and then we pass over to Auntie Chancy for tonight's catechism. So I'll ask Auntie Chance if she can do one, followed by Govin and Auntie Indra. Thank you.
Namaste, everyone. Jaya Mahe Sai Ma, Jaya Mahe Sai Ma, Brahma Sanatini Ma, Vigna Vinashini Ma, Brahma Sanatani Ma, Vigna Vinashini Ma, Jaya Mahe Sai Ma, Jaya Mahe Sai Ma, Durga Lakshmi Saraswati Sai Jagan Mata, Durga Lakshmi Saraswati Sai Jagan Mata, Sai Jagan Mata Mam Pahi Jagan Mata, Sai Jagan Mata Mam Pahi Jagan Mata, Tu Shakti Pradayini Ma, Tu Shakti Pradayini Ma, Abhaya Pradayini Ma, Abhaya Pradayini Ma, Jaya Mahe Sai Ma, Jaya Mahe Sai Ma, Brahma Sanatani Ma, Vigna Vinashini Ma, Durga Lakshmi Saraswati Sai Jagan Mata, Durga Lakshmi Saraswati Sai Jagan Mata, Sai Jagan Mata Mam Pahi Jagan Mata, Tu Shakti Pradayini Ma, Tu Shakti Pradayini Ma, Abhaya Pradayini Ma, Abhaya Pradayini Ma, Jaya Mahe Sai Ma, Jaya Mahe Sai Ma. Namaste.
Sitaram. सर्वेश्वरी जगदीश्वरी, सर्वेश्वरी जगदीश्वरी, हे मातृरूप महेश्वरी, हे मातृरूप महेश्वरी, ममतामयी करुणामयी, ममतामयी करुणामयी, हे मातृरूप महेश्वरी, सर्वेश्वरी जगदीश्वरी सर्वेश्वरी जगदीश्वरी हे मातृरूप महेश्वरी जगजीवनी संजीवनी समस्त जीवनेश्वरी हे मातृरूप महेश्वरी सर्वेश्वरी जगदीश्वरी सर्वेश्वरी जगदीश्वरी हे मातृरूप महेश्वरी कृपालिनी जगतारिणी प्रतिपल भुवर हृदयेश्वरी कृपालिनी जगतारिणी प्रतिपल भुवर हृदयेश्वरी हे मातृरूप महेश्वरी सर्वेश्वरी जगदीश्वरी सर्वेश्वरी जगदीश्वरी हे मातृरूप महेश्वरी तमहारिणी जगतारिणी मनमोहनी विश्वेश्वरी हे मातृरूप महेश्वरी सर्वेश्वरी जगदीश्वरी सर्वेश्वरी जगदीश्वरी हे मातृरूप महेश्वरी हे मातृरूप महेश्वरी सीताराम
Sitaram again to everyone. मैं हूँ आया है तेरे द्वार, जय महालक्ष्मी माँ। मैं हूँ आया है तेरे द्वार, जय महालक्ष्मी माँ। मेरी सुन ले पुकार है माँ, मेरी सुन ले पुकार है माँ, ए मैया पार लगा। ओ जय महालक्ष्मी माँ, मैं हूँ आया है तेरे द्वार, ओ जय महालक्ष्मी माँ। माटी पे सिंदूर विराजे, धूप दीप नैवेद्य चढ़ावे। माटी पे सिंदूर विराजे, धूप दीप नैवेद्य चढ़ावे। मैं तो लाया है फूल तेरे द्वार, मैं तो लाया है फूल तेरे द्वार, हे मेरी सुन ले पुकार। ओ जय महालक्ष्मी माँ, मैं हूँ आया है तेरे द्वार, ओ जय महालक्ष्मी माँ। जीवन नैया पार लगाए, चरण कमल में आने वाले। जीवन नैया पार लगाए, चरण कमल में आने वाले। तू ही अंतर्यामी माँ, तू है अंतर्यामी माँ, हे मेरी सुन ले पुकार। ओ जय महालक्ष्मी माँ, मैं हूँ आया है तेरे द्वार, ओ जय महालक्ष्मी माँ। तू है लक्ष्मी शारदा, तू भी विष्णु पत्नी है जग जननी। तू है लक्ष्मी शारदा, तू भी विष्णु पत्नी है जग जननी। तू दीन बंधु है माँ, तू दीन बंधु है माँ, हे मेरी सुन ले पुकार, ओ जय महालक्ष्मी माँ। मैं हूँ आया है तेरे द्वार, ओ जय महालक्ष्मी माँ। मेरे सुन ले पुकार है माँ, हे मैया पार लगा, ओ जय महालक्ष्मी माँ, ओ जय महालक्ष्मी माँ, ओ जय महालक्ष्मी माँ। Sitaram everyone. Thank you.
Thank you all. So now I'd like Mrs. Ramdad, if she can do one bhajan or kirtan for us, and then I'll pass over to Auntie Chancy. Thank you.
Jai Sitaram again. जय गोविंद गोपाल मनमोहन श्याम कन्हैया, मुरलीधर गोपाल घन श्याम नंद की लाला। जय गोविंद गोपाल मनमोहन श्याम कन्हैया, मुरलीधर गोपाल घन श्याम नंद की लाला। जगपालक तेरा रचैया, गोवर्धन गिरधारी। कितनी नाम तेरे नटवर, तो सावल कृष्ण मुरारी। मोर मुकुट मनोहर देवत बलिहारी, हर ब्रज बाला। मुरलीधर गोपाला घन श्याम नंद की लाला। जय गोविंद गोपाला मनमोहन श्याम कन्हैया, मुरलीधर गोपाला घन श्याम नंद की लाला। तू ही सागर में रमता, तू ही धरती पताल। जल में नभ में और जगत में तेरी जय जयकार। मेरी मन मंदिर में स्वामी तुझसे ही रखवाला। मुरलीधर गोपाला घन श्याम नंद की लाला। जय गोविंदा गोपाला मनमोहन श्याम कन्हैया, मुरलीधर गोपाला घन श्याम नंद की लाला। जिसका कोई नहीं इस जग में, उसका मीत कन्हैया। बंसी बजैया रास रचैया, काली नागन चैया। राजा हो या दीन दुखारी, सबका तू रखवाला। मुरलीधर गोपाला घन श्याम नंद की लाला। जय गोविंदा गोपाला मनमोहन श्याम कन्हैया, मुरलीधर गोपाला घन श्याम नंद की लाला। मुरलीधर गोपाला घन श्याम नंद की लाला। ओ मुरलीधर गोपाला घन श्याम नंद की लाला। जय गणेश भगवान की जय, जय श्री कृष्ण भगवान की जय।
Namaste again, everyone. So this evening, we will be continuing from couple of weeks ago where we started the 4 goals or life goals in Hinduism. In the previous sessions, we did karma, we did artha, we did dharma, and of course the final one is moksha, moksha or mukti. So on one of our previous catechisms, I raised some very pointed questions, such as why are we here? What is our purpose? Why were we born? You know, questions to force us to do some introspection. Or for the very least, some research to get some answers. To some extent, what we discussed in earlier sessions would help in answering these questions. Artha, karma, and dharma are all pertinent in starting to answer these questions, but they do not answer them definitively and completely. This is because they are stepping stones, if you will, in the pursuit of moksha or mukti, which is, because they're both the same thing, which is the ultimate goal and purpose of life as taught by the Bhagavad Gita and the Upanishads. The attainment of moksha or mukti can be loosely translated and explained as the merging of our Jivatman with Brahman. The Bhagavad Gita teaches that this can be attained in this life. We spoke about this in a previous session, where you can become a Jivan Mukta or attain Jivan Mukti. And it outlines how this can be achieved. So a lot of which we have discussed in previous sessions, right? And there is also the Videha Mukti, which is the attainment of Mukti or liberation after death. By examining moksha, we are forced to look at several issues. One centers around the frequent use of the word liberation as a translation for moksha. So it begs the question, liberation? Liberation from what? Usually the answer is the samsaric cycle of birth and death. So this explanation suggests that there is something greater and better than life as we know it. We are taught that the Atman, on death, the Atman will merge with Brahman. And I know some of you would be familiar with all the koshas. You know, Anamaya Kosha, Manomaya Kosha, Vijnanamaya Kosha, and Anandamaya Kosha. This comes from the Taittiriya Upanishad, which, believe it or not, was written in the 6th century BC. This very sophisticated and deeply philosophical piece. So, on the one, in the first, some people look at it and there is a human form and they look at the different sheets. Now, there are different ways that you can explain it. So that is one very simplistic way. And in others, we look at it as it is enhancing awareness of your inner world and developing a connection or synchronicity of mind, body, and spirit, refining your physical, your vital energy, your emotions, your wisdom to attain, in the final analysis, Ananda. So the first one is the Anamaya Kosha, which is a physical sheath, which usually we say it's a food sheath. Pranamaya Kosha, the vital energy, the breath, the life force. Manomaya Kosha, which contained within the first two. This also includes mind and emotions. Vijnanamaya Kosha, wisdom, awareness, insight, consciousness. And of course, Anandamaya Kosha, bliss. So in the past, we've discussed and talked about not as the koshas, but the different ways how we refine ourselves and prepare ourselves to, on our way to achieve moksha or mukti as sadhakas, and how we start transforming our lives. In Mahayana Buddhism, there is a concept of the bodhisattva, which is a person who is able to reach nirvana or moksha, but delays this and is reborn because of his or her compassion for suffering beings. So this bodhisattva is an enlightened one trying to acquire the stage in Buddhism, what you would call a stage of Buddha, or one who understands the truth of existence. In the same way, when the Lord speaks of tens of thousands of avatars, realized souls, now remember I spoke about this in the past, and we talked about tens of thousands of realized souls, and we call them avatars, and we said we can deem as avatars because of the divine presence, the Atman within us. But there can only be the Lord, the Supreme Lord, is the Purna avatar. So some scholars and commentators point to a similarity and congruence with Hindu philosophy, between Hindu philosophy and Buddhism in this way. An interesting thought to consider. Out of love and compassion to aid and assist and ease the suffering of others in this world, realized souls may choose or opt to be reborn. This is one of the greatest type of seva. And this is, again, so moksha or mukti refers to a state of liberation, realization, and increased consciousness. We have already addressed liberation. What is liberation? But what about realization? What exactly are we to realize? And what are we to be conscious of? Before Mahashivratri, we were doing the singing and chanting Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham, which I discussed as well, saying it is the entire Nirvana Shatakam. Everything is in negative terms, and in the final line each time Chidananda Rupa Shivoham Shivoham, it is in the affirmative, saying all before what I am not, and this is what I am. I am Shiva, I am Shiva. So you know the song, I am God, I am God, I am God, I am no different from God. I am the infinite supreme, the one reality. I am Sachit Ananda Swarupa. I am Om Tat Sat Om. I am Om Tat Sat Om. The same affirmation is in the Bhagavad Gita. Swami talks about this also. This is not something that is egotistical. This is pointing to exactly who we are. We are blissful in nature. We are divine in nature. It's only through avidya. And this is why Professor wrote that book, Accomplishing the Accomplished, because we are trying, we are looking and seeking, but it is within us. We are trying to accomplish what is already accomplished. It is only, we cannot be apart from God. The only way we can be is through our own ignorance. With true spiritual knowledge, a transformative process can take place. And this is only done through thought, word, and deed. All of these, there must be synchronicity among all three. So this is the way to, we dealt with all the others, artha, kama, and dharma, which was very important, to get to moksha. And again, this is what it is. It's about, we cannot be disjointed, and we cannot do it one day and the rest of days, or we only select to do part of it. No, it cannot be that. right conduct, non-violence, humility, compassion, selflessness, all of these things. We discussed this, at length in the last occasion. We must come to the realization that about that and become conscious of exactly who we are. We must come to realize that this is a path towards God. And it is only when we transform ourselves and we acquire those qualities that we are on our way. Very importantly, we must understand that all living beings also possess that divine spark. As Swami says, constant integrated awareness. From a spiritual and biological point of view, there is interdependence and symbiosis amongst all living beings and the natural world. And we must begin to act in a more responsible and respectful manner towards everything. So again, for us, it should define our lifestyle. Not only on certain days, but every day, our lifestyle. Remember, we keep saying, we keep harping on this. Hinduism is a way of life. It's a way of life. But for some of us, it's only for certain days of life, certain times. Only when we adopt all of these things, right conduct, non-violence, respect, humility, compassion, selflessness, only then, not only to human life, to non-human life, also only then will we be on the path to moksha. We got a blueprint last week on dharma and how to go forward, when to do it, how to do it. There is no, there should be no uncertainty. We are all on the same path. We are all on the same journey. We don't know how long we may have. So it is a fairly urgent thing for all of us. It should be, at least. And it does not have to be, tomorrow you just become a new person. If you can't, fine. But you can do it, gradually. Of course, making a serious effort. So it's not impossible for us. The Lord assures us that you can attain Jivan Mukti in this life. He didn't say we all have that option. So it is up to us. The onus is always on us. Life is full of choices, and it is what we choose. So that will bring us to the end of the 4 goals of life. I didn't have a lot to discuss on moksha because we would have covered so much already when I was doing artha, kama, and dharma especially. So this is just a culmination of what would be achieved, where we become one with God again. So on this note, I hope the discussions have been fruitful and that they've been meaningful to everyone. And we can all go forward learning something and being able to make some changes in our life. So I thank you. Namaste.
Thank you, Auntie Chansey. So we'll have one bhajan or kirtan, and then we'll have our closing. So I'll ask my mom to do the last song, and then I'll pass over to Govind for closing prayer. Thank you.
Sitaram again, everyone. Masato masadagame Tamaso ma jyotirgame Masato masadagame Tamaso ma jyotirgame पीड़ाओं से मुक्ति मिले निर्मल जीवन कमल खिले पीड़ाओं से मुक्ति मिले निर्मल जीवन कमल खिले, रहे मृत्यु कारंचन भय, तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमे, मासतो मा सरगमे, तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमे, अंधिकार का कर संहार, जरता पर भी करो प्रहार, अंधिकार का कर संहार, जरता पर भी करो प्रहार, सदा ज्योति की ही हो जय, तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमे, मासतो मा सद्गमे, तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमे, करो तृप्त मा ज्ञान शुधा, देकर अक्षय प्रेम सुधा, करो तृप्त मा ज्ञान शुधा, देकर अक्षय प्रेम सुधा, करो दो जीवन अमृतमय, तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमे, मासतो मा सद्गमे, तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमे, जीवन में दुख रहे न लेश, स्वर्ग बने वसुधा देश, जीवन में दुख रहे न लेश, स्वर्ग बने वसुधा देश, सांस सांस हो मंगलमय, तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमे, मासतो मा सद्गमे, तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमे, मासतो मा सद्गमे, तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमे. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'd like to take this opportunity to thank everyone for joining us this evening and hope to see you all next week. So I'd like to pass over to Govin to do our closing prayer for tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Shabana, and Sitaram once again, everyone. So let's all compose ourselves and adopt a mode of prayer. So we close our eyes and clasp our hands and focus on that Supreme and thank Him for the opportunity to join as one family and glorify the Supreme Being. Om Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhu Cha Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravinam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. So Sitaram, once again, we remind you to join us next week for another session of Connecting Through Bhajans. And those of you that have children, grandchildren, nephews, nieces, neighbors, friends, anyone that's interested in learning and doing public speaking, learning bhajans and all of those things, Auntie Chancy has availed herself, and others do pop in from time to time, like myself, to assist where needed on Sunday evenings with the children for Bachoka Kand. Sanya has been doing a great job rallying troops and keeping that momentum going. So we give her kudos and all the other kids that participate as well, and young adults. And we give you the opportunity to join us as well Sunday morning for satsang. and our Sunday morning service. Reminder for members of the Mandir that um, we have resumed physical services starting at 8 a.m. on Sundays. And of course, we do have the service that is carried live on Facebook as well. So all you have to do is connect to our Facebook page and you will be able to view the live stream there if you are unable to visit us physically. So until we meet again in satsang, keep good, keep safe, and sit around.